All right, guys, so I have Paul from PS Audio next to me. He's the owner and founder of PS Audio. Some of you may be familiar with it already based off some reviews and stuff you've seen online. I reviewed the Stellar Strata a while back, and I liked it so much when my time was up, I asked to buy it, and sure enough, I did. So you're going to be seeing it in future reviews. I liked it that much. So Paul, one, thank you for making that. Two, could you tell me a little bit about PS Audio for our viewers? What makes your brand special?
Sure. We've been around, well, probably longer than you've been alive.
Most likely.
Yeah, so we started in 1974 with just my partner and I, and so the brand is Paul and Stan Audio, and we made a little phono box for $60 that we sold basically the version of online back then, which happened to be an IBM Selectric typewriter that we would send letters out and people would send us checks for $59. We sold it with a money-back guarantee. And that kind of started the company off, and it was always about value. Yeah. So we really have always focused on making products that have a great amount of value to it. So for instance, your Strata, it's basically an integrated amplifier.
Yeah.
And we try and have it be performing like 5, 6, 7 times the cost of that. So if it's a $2,000 amplifier, it's going to be as good as a $10,000 amplifier from another company. And that's what we focus on, to just put as much as we can into every single product. And awesome. It's products we want to take home, products that we would like to own. And if we can't do that, then we don't produce it.
Yeah, no, it's not even the value part. I think the size was surprising for me.
Yeah.
Because when I first unboxed the Strata, I'm like, oh, this is a nice looking amp. You know, it's really heavy for its size. And I turned it on, I was blown away at how much power I got out of such a small chassis. And it never got crazy hot either.
Right. Yeah.
So I remember watching a video that you made a while back when you were talking about your philosophy behind power supplies, and you would overspec your power supplies because of how that impacted the dynamics of the music. Have you discovered along the way, you know, let's say over 20 years of designing some of these loudspeakers and amps recently, what are some other big things you noticed that stood out that you leveraged across your lineup to make them so special?
Oh, goodness. Well, that's a big, broad question.
I know. You can pick one of the many.
Let me just say one thing, and you brought up power supplies. An amplifier is a valve. And most people think an amp is this thing that makes all these watts, and it's fed from a power supply. But the truth is, it's actually the power supply is producing everything. It produces the voltage, the watts, and all of that. And the amplifier is just simply a valve that's turning the power supply on or off to your speakers. And it's kind of a backwards way of looking at it, but it's important to realize that an amplifier modulates a power supply, not the other way around. And that's why we put so much attention into power supplies that they're almost first and amplifiers are second. But awesome. That's really an important thing to understand. And happy to explain more about that if you want, but I know these videos, you want to keep them kind of short, so we won't babble on for too long.
Not a problem.
And I get so nervous. I get so nervous.
If you haven't seen Paul's YouTube content, he's obviously not, a professional at YouTube. We haven't seen him online before.
No.
I will have links in the description for his content. He actually has some really good stuff out there. But
well, one of the things that for as many years as we've been in business, speakers. So we have always wanted to be an end-to-end manufacturer where we had from the AC socket to what hits your ear, everything in the chain. And part of the reason is that I always struggle with loudspeakers. People for years, well, you make great electronics, what do I get for a speaker? And there aren't that many brands of speakers that I was really comfortable recommending. They're either crazy, stupid expensive, or they just didn't sound that good. And then we get the blame for it. So what I wanted to do was, could we make a loudspeaker that people can afford, that I feel comfortable having at home and recommending to people? And with the Aspen series, finally, we have something. And you've heard it in there. I mean,
it's remarkable, the bass extension that you get from that speaker and how even that that dispersion of sound is going from top to
Yeah.
bottom because of the height is great. And you said Aspen because you guys are based out of Colorado,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
it's an American company, which is great too.
It's an American company. We build everything except the speaker.
But you designed it there, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and Chris Brunhaver, who is the designer of the loudspeaker, he designed everything. So most loudspeaker company, or many loudspeaker companies, buy off-the-shelf drivers
Right.
and then design a cool cabinet, make their own crossover. Chris designed everything from the magnets up. I mean, the cone material, the frames, the magnets. I mean, everything. Yeah.
And you got a lot of hands-on listening and tuning and developing in-house because you have your laboratory there as well,
Yep.
right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's awesome.
And the final part of PS Audio, we have a huge lab, and everything runs through measurements, but that's only part one.
Right.
Part two is the listening.
Yep.
We do everything by ear.
Yep. No, we use measurements to validate some things that we're looking for, expecting, and then at the end of the day, that what you hear and experience is really what matters the most. So
Exactly.
Awesome.
And there are things that measure identically but sound very, very different.
100%. Even on a headphone where you have a fixed
yeah.
point and the room's not even a factor, you can
Yep.
have massive differences.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, Paul, thanks so much for your time.
Joe, thanks, buddy.
It's always a pleasure. Guys, thank you for checking this out. Like I said, I'll have links so you can learn more about PS Audio, the review we did of the Strata, and for Paul's content as well. We'll see you at the next one.